My name is Megan Stelljes.
My name's Jimmy Anderegg.
My name's Conor McClellan.
We tried to pick a piece that would really highlight each of our working styles or skill set, and also really come together as a final piece as a whole. So we broke the piece down into separate panels so each person could really have a voice in each slice, and then as it comes together, the repetition of each slice and the different working styles tied together, and then final piece.
Actually assembling, like not just fusing the panel together on that stroke, and setting up the objects, and the teamwork that it takes to organize that whole process. Because we haven't done it either.
Yeah, none of us have ever done this particular way.
So we made a bunch of leaves, pre-made leaves, berries, and then we'll make a flower. But I'm just gonna make a berry and then a leaf for you so you can see those elements, how they were made. And then we'll make a little flower, and then we'll stick them together.
There's a bunch of berries on the left-hand side.
I grew up in Kansas mostly. My dad was in the Army, so we moved around a little bit, but we landed in Kansas. I went to school at Emporia State University and with Pat Martin and Roberta Eichenberg in their glass forming program. And then when I graduated, I moved out to the Pacific Northwest to work with Karen Willenbrink Johnson and Jason Johnson. And that working for them really shaped my path as an artist. They work so heavily in color and assemblage, and just are such great sculptors that it really inspired me to work with glass as a sort of like a trompe-l'oeil, more realistic sculpture, rather than in college I was doing a lot more cartoon sort of things, and just their ability to use glass color is like the best in the world, and it was just so inspiring. And so color and glass has really been a passion of mine ever since then. I moved to Seattle and worked for Deb Moore and worked in some production studios, and we also lived and worked in Tacoma at the Museum of Glass, so sort of just, you know, not a super focused path, but really trying to refine my craft, and then eventually started to get into sculptural work on my own. And my work usually focuses on color and humor, and also the sprinkling of a sexual undertone. That's really important to me to kind of guide conversations around sex and sexuality, because I think that sex ed and bringing up things like conversations around consent and sexual health are really important conversations we need to be having with each other. So I try and tie that into my work too. So after working for a while up at Pilchuck and meeting good friends over the summers working there, we developed a friendship with Jimmy and Nicole, and I also met my husband Conor up at Pilchuck, and we decided to all get together and do this thing up here at Great Barn. Okay, fine. Let's do the front half.
right here.
That's my stress. That's why my beard's making so great this last year. Making this piece. It's really catching up this year so far. This is crinkle.
Yeah.
Can you get the tray?
Yes, please.
These 5 pedals.
I'm just gonna pull this out a little bit. I smush it back on the bar and then I'll be ready for you.
I'm gonna try and get some meat balls.
Okay. A little hotter if possible.
It is. That was me. I stepped right on top of the cut mark and was like, I just have to stay the course. Hold my ear. But,
Tray.
Fine, talking Tray trays are very attractive.
Best worst plumber. The ladies like him.
Hopefully not. Ever. When you're ready, go ahead and flash. When I put it on, you can go straight
like as soon as she pays at the very end, it's like it's time.
Yeah, I can bring it from back over here. Like I did that last one. But I'm coming from the G-hole, right?
Actually, that might be it. Yeah, I think that'll be it.
Yeah, and then push it over.
Just
Push it over.
Or we can just slide the blackberries out and over.
Does everything look okay in the garage?
Bring that other one in the front up, and then bring it forward. What's that?
We made these in the hot shop the other day, a bunch of these discs.
We got it to recap.
Is it creek day already? What do you mean just take Abram down there? Yeah, he's feeling up to it.
We don't have to go swimming, but
Yeah.
we go sit on a log.
That could be nice. So then we make a bunch of these and cut them in half. And cut those halves in halves and then make pluses out of them. We'll probably do some Batuto work to them or something too. But they'll magnify that last panel that we just made once we make the final assembly. Thing like this. And then the next problem that we have to overcome is matching the height and the curvature so that they fit tightly together. So I've started to do that on this one. There's a little bit more work to do, but this left side's pretty good seamed up. So I'll just hit this one a little bit more and we'll make the curvatures match, and then I have to run it through a few grits to bring it up to a higher level of polish. And then, next step, didn't quite polish it. I brought it up to about a 400 grit and contoured them so that they'll match. We're going to seam them up kind of into an X shape, so it's this optical piece of glass that will stick on the panel and kind of play and bend the light on the cake. So now what we got to do is take it over the glory hole, heat it up, fire polish the faces, and kind of make it one. Don't want it to trap a bubble from the center not getting hot, you know, kind of balling up. Maybe we'll try this next one. Oh yeah. Yeah, that was much better. had to use the pressure, brother. Those things are flimsy a little bit. Alright, let's try and see if we can get this to go right. Nice and low. Kind of. We'll see if I weld it to this plate. Yeah, you can kill it. Pretty setting, you can come my way a little bit, maybe.
Going to make rondelles, and it seemed easier to make these little flared out. It's like a foot. I was born and raised in Tacoma and Lakewood, Washington. I started blowing glass in 1998 under Jennifer Holmes in Lakewood at her home studio, and she specialized in blown sculpture and such, a lot of powder applications and things like that. So that's kind of where my base of glass making came from. And at that point I met a bunch of glass makers that I've worked through my career with, being like Levi Belber and Jason Jones. My first year at Pilchuck was in 2000, and I worked as a kitchen assistant and met a bunch of people that have inspired me through the years, like the Butter Eaters and Robbie Miller and Cud and Greg Owen and all these people. And so went to Pilchuck, and then I started working at the Museum of Glass in 2002 as the cold worker when they opened. Charlie Perriott hired me on there and started working with the crew there, and I was the cold worker at the Museum of Glass for 10 years. And in that time I came back and forth to Pilchuck. And I've worked at some production factories. Back in 2000, I started working with Levi Belber in Standard Glass and have been working with him consistently for about 21 years. I teach at the Hot Shop Heroes program, and when they had it, the UW Tacoma art program, and done that for 7 years or so, going on with Pat Davidson, Levi, Greg Owen, Tony Sorgenfree, Trent, a bunch of people like that. And that's a really great program that's really brought some good change.
Give a couple of normal ones first.
Yeah, it might not be so that's a rewarding thing to do. Personally, I'm learning how to be an artist. I think it's ingrained kind of in every person, but I really fought it for a lot of years, being a production worker and a cold worker, and always having a job as a glassmaker. I did never able to get into that space unless I was at somewhere like Penland or Pilchuck where everything was removed and it was just art. And I think being up here, I'm getting that opportunity to really let what I could normally consider the real world, which is glass jobs, go and kind of focus on the creative end of it. So it's interesting for me, I guess. It's like a weird concept for me to paint glass art and actually art. And then I was just trying to think of how to make intersecting rings, almost like Olympic rings or an Audi symbol, and then stack them up and see what results I'll get. It's just kind of an experiment. I'd like to try it with Duro and then kind of get the texture more, but I figured it'd be a lot easier if I'm just experimenting to try it. So I'll finish cold working these to a pre-polish so that they'll fire polish in the kiln. We'll stack them this afternoon after the blow slot and then run a cycle on them. I don't think I'm going to do a full fuse. I'm going to do like the 3/4 so everything slumps into the gaps, but it's not a full melt. And everything will just have this odd texture. And then I'm just trying to build up enough height to match everyone else's panels. And then what I'll do is I'll come in and I'll cut strips out. So you won't have the full circles, you'll just get these little crescent shapes, these like half circles or quarter circles. It'll probably be about 1.5 inch wide strip. And then I'll make a few of those. That'll be what I'm trying to do.
couple big beats with some big torch sessions. Yeah, let's pull for Eddie's. It's nice to have them to block the heat, but we gotta be able to we're gonna have to get in there and squeeze, so we gotta get them out of the way. If the mess we're up and leave it cracked or something. I think Connor's got some paint coming out of the garage. We're going to do a quick pickup on it. Once I pick it up, he's going to heat up a piece of Duro that has the color overlay on it, and we're going to do a roller wrap over on the roller wrap machine right down the side of it. Close the bottom up, take a couple gathers, and we're going to stuff inside a black cup, a little stuff cup that we've already pre-made. And then we'll blow it up into a cylinder. And then later when it's cold, we'll cut the bottom off and cut it in half and bring it up to a slumping temperature and let it lay flat into a panel. I grew up in Washington, lived here all my life. When I was about 19, I moved in with a couple of friends. I was a forklift driver, and I had a couple of friends that were glass blowers that were my roommates, and I went to Seattle Glass Blowing Studio and checked it out, and really got excited by it, got bit by the glass bug a bit, and so I started coming in to help them whenever I could, and I developed into some jobs, and eventually I was working on teams, and spent the next 5-6 years working on teams all over Seattle. And then I eventually went up to Pilchuck for the first time, and that was really a transformative experience for me. I had been kind of a production glass blower for a long time, and I'd seen some cool stuff in Seattle, but it really opened up my mind to what was possible with glass, as opposed to just being production. Like, it could be art and so much more, and like the possibilities. And I took a class from Greg Dietrich, which was an engraving class, and started doing cameo work and really fell in love with the cold hot process. And at that point I knew I just had to be at Pilchuck as much as possible, so I started coming up as much as I could, taking classes when I could afford it, started to get on staff a lot, attended many times as staff and a TA, and just got up there as much as I could because it was the kind of the college experience for me, like learning how to be an artist and what art was, and how to be a better maker. And so that just was a huge life-changing experience for me, and throughout that process I met all of my friends that have my life. Conor, I spent many years with him in the cold shop developing a friendship, and met Megan up there, and we decided that we wanted to get something going. Nicole and I have been talking about trying to figure out how to make a community space where we could be makers and live out on some land and invite some friends to come out and join us in the process. So we talked to Conor and Megan, and we decided that it sounded like a good idea and it was something that we could all move forward together. So we did a big property search and looked around and tried to find something in the area. The property's crazy expensive, so there was only about 10 properties and within 2 hours of the metro area that we could afford, and we ended up finding one right next to Pilchuck, about 20 minutes down the road. And yeah, it's been great. And so we've been working collaboratively kind of ever since, assisting each other and making our work and trying to figure out where the soil will take us. I've always been struggling as a craftsman to break through into further meaning. So I've worked as a maker for so long that I know how to make kind of a quality object, but I'm always trying to find meaning and make it more than the object. And as someone that never went to art college or wasn't trained in that, it's been a constant struggle for me to try and push through and to make it more than just an object. So it's something that I'm experimenting all the time and trying to make it more than just the piece and to make it have a little bit more impact. But my style, I guess, is just informed from my love of traditional Italian glass, the cane work, the Marini, and then also informed by my love of cold working. So getting in there in texture, form, and color, I guess, are what my work's all about. So getting in there, making nice line work, putting layers on it, and then spending many hours exposing those layers and putting texture in those pieces. Just a little light look. Off, cap. Please don't. Will you wipe the handle with that?
It's not that bad. It's not. The inside of it, outside.
Captain? Alright. And low. Ooh, it's hot. Off. Captain? Captain? Too hot for me. Well, a little bit. Haven't been in the shop much lately. None of us have. Up. All right. Okay. For a little cone, huh?
We'll use silver or gold. I like the silver for when using dark colors because you can actually see what's going on. So a couple of moves. And then the other trick is chapstick. Some people like to use Burt's Bees. So this will keep your line on. The wax will make it, keep it from disappearing.
Shed the water.
Yeah. And so I like to put it on and then I smear it because it doesn't like to push in very well. And that's from the checks. They know stuff.
Learning new things every day. No, I don't work this way very often. That's my hot. Yeah. Don't do that at home, kids. I guess we're gonna fuse it this way. Yeah, maybe it was just hot. It's pretty fucking hot.
It's good. It's straight.
Yeah. It's just gonna take a little bit of steam in here. Get a hotter flame.
Flash, and then I'll flip it for you, and then you'll be able to
Sure, yeah. How it flowed, it didn't flow, it's good over here.
just get it warm, and then some of that heat was going to come from heat from the burner too. You know. This demo is full.
Yeah, right here.
Great line.
Yeah.
Dude,
you're gonna have the sickest TikTok ever.
Everybody's gonna be like, why is he burning the glass?
Why is he smoking?
Oh, it's hot. You mess around with the big camera. This right here.
Right here.
And there too, no?
Yeah.
What about the other side? Is that good or?
Other side can use it a little. It's on the seam, so that's what's really magnifying it. But that one just had melted all the way. That one looks a little better. Yeah, right on that right side of here. Yeah, right there.
Alright, flashing, Connor. Alright, Jimmy. Alright. Alright, go ahead. Yeah. Okay. Flash again. We'll put the third one on there and see what we see.
Yeah.
Yeah. All the connections. Alright, let's look.
I think so.
Should we just go ahead and box it and leave the kiln up to temp for a while and then?
I'm saying like a long, so let it just sit there for a few hours.
Yeah.
Just all evenly heated.
Yeah.
Yep, I say.
It's hard to do it in the G-bowl.
Yeah, let's box it.
Okay.
Are you scaring those things away?
Well, we about 4 years ago, we started the process of this whole gray barn thing, and Jimmy and Nicole asked us up here, Megan and I, and we came up and we've put together this whole studio and this whole thing to make artwork.
We wanted to save it. We wanted to save the barn because it was a historic barn. The first recording's like 1914.
Notebook full of names, and I think it was like a balance of like not being pretentious, not being too goofy, not being, you know, like our work is also different. So Gray Barn, which is like where we all gather, seemed like a pretty great name because it's like exactly nondescript, and that's like we're also diverse in our skill sets and our processes and what we do here. So it was just like sort of the name of our gathering place.